Nobody wants to talk. Anybody
I
doing
think
something different?
without missing तुलसी जी की सेवा कर रहे हैं.
Okay, good. Tulsi ji seva is going on.
Yes, और आपके माध्यम से दर्शन हो रहे हैं रोज. घर पे तो हो ही
Amazing.
रहा है, बट आप जो ग्रुप
हाँ,
पे डालते हैं फोटो से दर्शन तो हो ही रहे हैं रोज.
okay, good. Chanting.
चैंटिंग हो रही है.
Okay, good. Very good. Anybody else? Anybody who's reading? सब लोग चुप क्यों है? It's okay to say मैं कुछ special नहीं कर रहा. It's fine. But I would love to hear from everybody. Tina ji, can I ask you?
Yeah, chanting the one round at least, trying to do at least one round.
Amazing. That's such a good start. So happy for you. Veronica ji, do you want to speak?
I'm trying to do chanting, but sometimes it is not able to do, like mind get distracted. But I try to do at least once.
Okay, very good. So one round would not take you more than 8-10 minutes. It's okay if mind gets distracted. Even mechanical chanting का भी फायदा है. Of course, we have to make it pure over a period of time. But even if you do mechanically, right,
Yeah.
there's a lot of benefit. We know the story I've spoken about Ajamila, right? Who basically, was a Brahmin, and then in the association of a prostitute, he did all the wrong things. He got married to her, and then did lots of bad things. But just at the time of his death, he called out for his son Narayana. He was not trying to call Narayan, which is God or Krishna or Vishnu. He just called his son Narayan. But because of this, the Vishnu Devas came in and saved him, right, from the clutches of going to hell, right? So it's okay, right? When we are just starting off, all of us, we know how difficult it is to control the mind. In fact, this is what we are going to talk about today. But we should still do it, and you see the benefits of it. The second thing, in fact, Prabhupada says, I'll send you a video. Somebody sent it to me today morning only. He said, even if you can't chant, just keep hearing. So, which is amazing that you are hearing. So you joined the class and you're hearing. So that itself is so amazing.
Yes.
Okay.
So, if I may share, so this month has been a bit, the southern month has been a bit heavy on our family. But by the grace of Krishna and by everyone's blessing, I think chanting has helped me not, getting emotionally attached to whatever is happening. It has given me a lot of strength, and I'm really grateful to everyone for helping us with chanting the messages every day. It's been a great. So
No, good. I know it's been difficult for you. And,
chanting is happening, Lalit, even though it is not allowed. But I think there is nothing superior than chanting.
yes,
Pratha,
absolutely.
pratha, sab, everything.
Good, very good. Anybody else? Sukrut, welcome. Anything we just discussing what if there's anything special we are doing in the Purushottam month? Somebody said we just started to chant. Somebody saying I'm trying to chant. Anything you want to share? Sukrut, are you there?
So, yeah, so Lalit, besides the chanting, obviously, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, I'm reading that as well.
Wow, that is so amazing.
Yeah.
Reading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, it's in starting this month, I think it's just outstanding. right? That's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, so chanting and Srimad Bhagavatam are the two things that I am doing as well.
It's so amazing. The benefits of what you're starting now is basically that this becomes a part of your life, and then how life changes. You will see this month is so special to start any spiritual practice or add anything to your spiritual practice. So good. So happy to hear. Administrator Mataji, do you want to speak? Hare Krishna. Sorry, we don't know your name, Mataji, but if you want to speak. Okay, we'll start the class. As always, personally for me, I think it's been amazing. One besides chanting extra rounds that I regularly do, one of the things I've said is that I'll visit the ISKCON temple wherever I am. So by Krishna's grace, it's been possible till now, and I hope he allows me to take darshans wherever I'm going, wherever I'm traveling. So I really hope for his mercy to be able to do that. I also started a course. It's called as a Bhakti Shastri course. It's an advanced course where you learn multiple scriptures. So I started that also. In fact, today 10 to 12 was that introduction class. I'm hoping to go more deeper and serve you all more better. So yeah, I think all of us have multiple things that we're trying to do. So, just amazing. So happy to hear this. Okay, cool. So we'll start with Jai Radha Madhav. Today, who wants to lead us? Reena ji, you want to lead us?
No, I actually will not be able to read fluently. So if somebody can help.
Okay. So Rahul, you want to do this today?
I'll do it next time I practice, and I'll do it
No,
next
it's okay. Do it this time. Doesn't matter.
No,
How
no,
I'll
please.
help you.
No, please, you go ahead. I'll practice next. I'll do next time.
Anybody else who's ready to do this?
I'll
Varunika?
do it. I'll do it.
Okay.
Can I do it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Very
Hare Krishna. So your voice is very feeble, but if you're in a zone where you can't say loudly, then we'll let.
Yeah, I think then I will give it a pass, Lalit. I can't sing loud.
Okay, yeah, I know you're in a zone where you can't speak loudly. Okay. So I will do it. But I think, see, the idea I do the same prayer again and again is so that when you go in front of Krishna, you should be able to tell him something. हम खाली डिमांड मांगते रहते हैं, हम सब करते रहते हैं, काफी लोग बस जय करके निकल जाते हैं. But when you sing for him, when you sing his glories, Krishna starts noticing you. So when we go to a temple, it's not about us seeing Krishna, it's about Krishna seeing us, right? So that's why you should always learn a few shlokas of some prayers, some kirtan that you can sing to Krishna whenever you see him, so that he starts to notice you, right? So that's why it's a simpler one, and that's why I'm trying for all of us to remember it. It's very simple. That's why I put the lyrics also here. But happy to do this. Okay. So Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. You can repeat after them. You can
Jai
unmute.
Radha
Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Bihari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivar Dhari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari
Girdhari
Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjana.
Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjana.
Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjana.
Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjana.
Ranjana.
Yamuna Tira Banachari.
Yamuna Tira Banachari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You can repeat.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare. Repeat.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare.
Jayo Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Radhe. When I finish, you should repeat. All of you should unmute and repeat, right? So I won't prompt again and again. So just so Jayo Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Radhe.
Jai Radha,
Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan,
Shri
Sri
Radhe.
Radhe.
Jayo Radha Sham Sundar, Radha Sham Sundar, Shri Radhe.
Jaya Radha Sham Sundar Sham Sundar Jaya Shri Radhe.
Jayo Krishna Balaram, Jayo Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jayo Krishna Balaram.
Jaya Krishna
Krishna
Balaram
Balaram, Jaya
Jaya Krishna Balaram
Balaram,
Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna
Krishna
Balaram.
Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Shila Prabhupada.
Jai Ho
Jaya
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada Jaya
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada Prabhupada
Prabhupada, Jai Ho
Jaya Srila
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada.
Jayo Gurudev, 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 Gurudev.
Jaya Gurudev 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 Gurudev.
Amazing. Thank you for joining for the Kirtan. Like they say, powerful than just chanting alone is doing Sankirtan. Sankirtan. That means people coming together to do Sankirtan. So Chaitanya Prabhu said the only way to go back to Godhead is this in this Kali Yuga is Sankirtan, which is doing Kirtan with everybody else. So this is such a powerful thing, right? Because you alone will have one voice. But if five of you are doing, there are five voices and all five of you get benefited. If there are 10, then 10 of you and all one person gets the benefit of 10. So Sankirtan is so powerful. So you should always, wherever you go to a temple, you hear and anybody with your family, Bachpan mein, if you look at original, right? Abhi things have changed. We should always sit together and do prayers. right? And mother used to sing and all of us used to repeat, right? So the reason we do it is because it was coming together as a whole family doing kirtan, which is Sankirtan, right? So that's the amazing part Sankirtan, right? Doing it together means everybody gets benefit, right? Okay, so we'll start with the the prayers, pranam prayers, and then we'll get into the lecture. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sorry Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaita Sabadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Mitamascha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanto Radho Kanto Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataruscha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निधि नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात देशी तारिणे. Let me just bring up the slides. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण कृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी ने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशी तारिणे. Okay, great. So we'll just do a little bit of a recap of the fifth chapter so that there is continuity. So welcome all of you to today's session. To the fifth chapter, I think the acronym we learned was STEP. Stay in the world. We learn about the three doers. We learn about having equal vision, and then how do you achieve peace, right? So that was what we learned. So stay in the world means Krishna inspired Arjuna to continue his Nishkam Karma Yoga. Right? As a warrior, he told him that you have a prescribed duty and you do it and offer the fruits to me in a detached spirit. Right? He said, do it as with the understanding that you are a servant of God and as a minute spirit soul. So to put it very clearly, what it meant was any work that you do in this world, there are two aspects. And your attachment to work, and secondly, attachment to fruits. Right? When we learned about the ladders of yoga, right? We started saying that there are people who are at the stage of Sakam Karma Yogis. That means they are attached to work also, and they're attached to fruits also. So most of us are like that, right? The only glory of the Sakam Karma Yogi is the word yogi means they align with God. That they will not do things that are prohibited in the Vedas. Right? They align with God, but they're attached to both the work and the fruits, right? Then the next level is of a Nishkam Karma Yogi, which means they're attached to the work, but not attached to the fruits. They may like to do a particular type of profession as per their nature, they're attached to that work. But the fruits, they offer it to God. That is the next level, which is Nishkam Karma Yogi. Right? If you remember, I'd given you two examples. There's a Mataji who would come to the temple and she would make gulab jamun. And after making the gulab jamun, she loved making gulab jamun. Then she would go to everybody, all the devotees, and ask, how was it? That means she was attached both to the work as well as to the food, right? But she was serving God. Another example I gave you was a Prabhuji who would come to the temple and he's an expert at making jalebis. So he did the service. Always he would come on time, he would do full mehnat, he would do the service of making jalebis, but run away as soon as the jalebis are over. He never waited to ask anyone. So Prabhuji's is a Nishkam Karma Yogi. He has no attachment to fruits. He loves his work, which is making jalebis, but he has no attachment to fruits. Versus the Mataji wanted to know everybody should praise, मैंने अच्छा बनाया, नहीं बनाया. But she was very attached to the fruits. Right? And the third stage is Bhakti Yogis, which offer both their work and their fruits, offer themselves to God. Right? That is Bhakti Yogis. Here I gave you an example of Prabhuji who will come to the temple and saying, give me any work. You want me to clean the bathroom, toilets? You want me to clean the floor? You want me to serve food? You want me to clean the bartan? You want me to help making food? You want me to preach? Whatever you tell me, I will do. So this person is not attached to work. He wants to just work for God. And whatever way he can use his body to serve the God, this person is doing. So simple to understand. Sakam Nerve Yogi, Nishkam Karma Yogis, and Bhakti Yogis, right? So Krishna told Arjuna, you should act on the platform of Nishkam Karma Yoga, stay in the world and do your duty and offer the fruits to the Lord. So that was stay in the world, right? Which is also very relevant to us. We don't have to leave everything, go to a jungle to become Krishna conscious. Right? We have to do our work, but offer it to Krishna, right? The second part he explained was about the three doers, right? There are three doers we saw, right? In the last session. There we saw, okay, let me bring that slide up for you to understand and remember. Okay.
Lalitji, your volume is a little low. I don't know if I am not able to hear or is everyone feeling that. You just check if the volume is full.
Others, are you able to hear?
No, I'm able to hear perfectly fine for me.
Okay, then let's continue.
Rinaji, you want to
Fine.
just try? Join again?
Fine for me also.
Okay, let's continue.
So we learned about this, right? Where we said that the three doers, right? The Jivatma desires, the Paramatma sanctions, and the material nature fulfills, right? The material nature is uncertain, right? It will only behave as per the direction of the super soul. So only when Lord activates material nature, she will act. Otherwise, material nature cannot act on its own. Right? This was the three doers, right? We only desire, and then everything has to be fulfilled by the Lord. For example, I give an example. There's a child, he says, Mama, I want a balloon. Now the mother has to get the balloon, but the father has to pay the money. So the child desires the balloon. The father takes out the money from the pocket, gives it to the mother, and the mother buys the balloon. So Krishna is like our father. Mother is like Durga, the material energy. So she provides you the balloon, and father gives the money and the confirmation to provide to you. Now the father says, okay, let him buy, gives the money, and he does it. So in our life, Durga Ma or material nature fulfills only after the father, which is Krishna, sitting as the super soul in each of us heart, says, okay, this is okay to give to this person. Simple to understand. Right? So in this example, you should understand that I am the child. I need the help of my father to get the balloon I want. So then I know that everything is ultimately provided by God. So that is the second thing we learned, right? The third one was about equal vision. Right? This is a very important thing, right? We should see all jivas equally, whether they're animals or birds or insects or human beings. Everybody should be treated and looked at equally. At that visions, two things I told you about, right? One is that you will see the jivas equality and not try to control them or dominate them or exploit them or abuse them, right? Secondly, by seeing the jivas are accompanied by the same super soul who's sitting in our hearts as well, and like that he's sitting in their hearts as well. we will fear to give trouble to the other living being because the father is also accompanying the son, right? So I give an example. You're walking on the road, go and slap a child who's with his father. The father will come and hit you back. So same way, every jiva, whatever form he or she may be in, is accompanied by the super soul, which is Krishna, right? Sitting in your heart. So we have to remember that anybody else that we trouble also has Krishna sitting in the heart. Right? That is the third one. The last one was the peace formula, in which Krishna said three things: Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam. All the sacrifices and austerities are performed for Krishna's pleasure. So whatever we do, right? Krishna even showed by the example in his own Leela, right? When people were praying to Indra, he said, let's pray to Govardhan, right? So he basically wanted to show that finally it's me who's saying everything, right? So all the sacrifice and austerities are performed for Krishna's pleasure. That's number one. Second, Krishna talks about Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, that he is the master of all the planets, right? And third one, Suhardam, that he is the supreme well-wisher of all living beings, right? So what? Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam, all austerities are for Krishna, Krishna's pleasure. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, he is the master of all planets. And Suhadram, that is the supreme well-wisher of all the living beings. So if you are convinced about these three, then you will have peace in your life, right? At least we have to understand this now. Clear? Now we go to the chapter 6, right? Chapter 6, the acronym is easy, right? E stands for enemy or the friend, right? So this is about the mind. This is a very important piece, right? All of us, Mataji was talking about saying when I chant, my mind doesn't focus, right? I find it difficult. So this chapter, Krishna actually speaks about the chapters called Dhyan Yoga, right? So as I said, the first 6 chapters, the middle chapters, and then the last chapters, right? So now we are finishing the first 6 chapters. Then you are getting to the first 6 chapters and the last chapters, right? 13 to 18, they are like the bread, but the 7 to 12 in between, 7 to 13 in between, actually are the butter and the jam. So we are now finishing the first slice of the bread, and now we are getting into a second, which is actually the jam, which will be the next 7 chapter onwards. So in fact, I was hearing someone, and that Prabhuji was saying that actually people should start reading the Bhagavad Gita starting from 7th chapter. Then finish the Bhagavad Gita and come back to the first to 6th chapter. So in fact, anybody of us who's missed the classes also, 7th chapter will be like amazing. That's the core of the Bhagavad Gita, right? 7th chapter onwards. So, right, coming back to this. So E is enemy of friend, is about Krishna, right? And why Krishna is talking about the mind is what we will cover now, right? So again, going back to this tripod that we saw, right? As soon as you understand this tripod of a jiva, God and nature, when you understand this, gradually a detachment will develop in our hearts, because we can come to know that we are not the controllers, right? We understand that everything is not actually done by me alone. I am only desiring, right? It is just like I told you another story of a farmer, right? Farmer is only sowing the seed. God gives the rain, God gives the potency in the seed, God gives the earth and everything. Similarly, the jiva begins to understand, oh, God is so mighty, so powerful. He's doing so many wonderful things in this world. So slowly the detachment starts in the heart and one begins to understand that. Actually, once this detachment develops, we will not have any controllership mentality. You will always think, I will do my part, let me do my best, and let Krishna do the rest. You'll be able to let go things in life after doing your part. You all have these experiences in this life. We are all living in this world, right? With family, and all of us have had many years that have passed by, right? Sometimes we are trying our best to break our head to get something done. We break our head to get something done. But this doesn't happen. So what happens? We get extremely frustrated, extremely depressed, and occupies our mind so much. कि क्यों नहीं हो रहा? मैं तो इतना काम करो, इतना मेहनत करो, मुझे चाहिए चाहिए चाहिए, but it doesn't happen because we take the controllership. And I showed you many pictures of people getting frustrated in the last class, in the 5th chapter class actually. So by understanding all this, we know that Lord is in control ultimately. I am not God after all. I'm just a tiny jiva. and we can do our part and be detached. So we understand that the Lord has to sanction. In this way, our vision gets purified overall, right? So the question may come is, what does it mean of that vision being becoming purified? Like if somebody comes and tells you, can you do this? What will you say? You'll say, oh Prabhu, I'll try my best with the blessings of Lord. I'll try and do this seva for you. But you know, you can also say, hey, I am very confident. You know who you are asking? This fellow has done so many things. I've done 20 such things. Why can't I do the 21st thing? We don't behave like that, right? It's like the Ravana mentality. Ravana would say, Main Lanka Naresh Ravan bol raha hu, right? He used to speak like that. Because he thought everything is in his control. My control, that's what he thinks, right? Same way we've heard the story of Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad Maharaj. Right? So Hiranyakashipu also thought like that. He said, pray to me. I am everything. Who's your God? Can he come out of this pillar? So he thought, I am in control and I am doing everything else, right? So once you understand that the Lord is in control, Maya Adhyakshana Prakriti, then our vision becomes purified. You understand that nature is mother, Krishna is father, and God, he is the father. So I'm only a child. I can desire, and then then when I express my desire, the Lord is providing through the nature, through the Prakriti. And that's when we get a clear vision or a correct vision. And and our activities hence also get purified by doing Nishkam Kam Yoga. That means we're still attached to the work, but we are not attached to the fruits. And that's when we make further advancement. Right? And what Krishna is saying is that we can go ahead by the practice of meditation of the super soul by the Ashtanga Yoga method. So Krishna describes the Ashtanga Yoga method in this chapter, right? So if you want to progress, if you want to progressively know what exactly happens, in a karma kanda, right? There are material desires for enjoying this world. So somebody may say, what's wrong in enjoying this world? It's so much beautiful world you enjoy, and you know there is so much there. And then Krishna says you enjoy and see you will suffer, right? Because when we try and play the role of the God in this world, we suffer more and more. We want to be the controller, we want to be the proprietor, we want to be the enjoyer, but we are also the sufferers. Like Ravana suffered, Hiranyakashipu suffered, Kamsa suffered, and so many suffered and taught us. After that, even in this our own generation, right? You have Hitler. He finally committed suicide. There's Alexander, and so many more people like that, right? Who tried to dominate the world, boss over the world, control over the world, and ultimately they were all wiped out by the sands of time. Right? So therefore, we follow the path of the Bhagavad Gita, which teaches us that even if you want material pleasure in karma kanda, then after suffering a little bit, you understand that you can go to the level of Sakam Karma Yoga, right? Where you're still attached to the fruits and you're attached to the work, but you're doing it for but you're doing as per the principles of the Vedas, right? So when you do Sakam Karma Yoga, you don't go to other devtas. You only go to the Supreme Lord who's beyond creation, and that's Sakam Karma Yoga. So you've got an understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. You're still attached to your work and fruits, but you follow certain regulative principles and certain ways to do things. In Nishkam Karma Yoga means you go to the Supreme Lord, you offer him the fruits, everything you give the credit to him, you offer it to him, and you only desire purification. And you do that, Nishkam Karma Yoga purifies you and awakens the knowledge. Right? Then there is one further step Krishna is going to explain. Yeah, spoken about this, yeah. One is going to explain in this chapter, which is called as the Ashtanga Yoga method, right? For example, here you see Janak Maharaj. We've spoken about Janak Maharaj, right? Mother Sita's father. He was a great Nishkam Karma Yogi. His name is quoted in the Bhagavad Gita. I think we covered him in chapter 3. Now, in that stage of becoming purified and knowledge getting awakened, then you can go to the next platform. Again, if you go to the steps of the yoga ladder, then you go to Ashtanga Yoga, where you meditate on the super soul, right? So basically, dhyana vastita tad gatena manasa pasyantam yogino. Yogi, the personality form of Lord Vishnu in their hearts, see, basically the path of karma then purifies the heart. The path of jnana then awakens the knowledge about the soul and the God. And the path of Ashtanga Yoga clearly shows that God is Vishnu sitting in your heart. So you have to meditate on Vishnu in your heart, you focus, right? Now, all of us know Ashtanga Yoga is yoga exercise, karo body fit rahegi. But the actual process of Ashtanga Yoga is actually to be able to see and meditate to the super soul, which is Vishnu in our heart. You focus on it, right? So like that, you learn there's a path of action, there's a path of knowledge, and there's a path of focus, which is Ashtanga Yoga. Right? And then, of course, there's Bhakti Yoga, that you understand that Vishnu is in your heart, only a partial expansion of Sri Krishna, who's the original, and the original Krishna expanded into everyone's heart as the super soul or Paramatma. Right? And so now Krishna is introducing Ashtanga Yoga. Right? So you may ask, what is the advantage in focusing on the Lord in the heart? Right? For example, we spoke about the story of Dhruv Maharaj. Do you remember Dhruv Maharaj's story? The 5-year-old boy who wanted to sit in his father's lap, but his stepmother didn't allow him to sit. So he went to the jungle and he meditated on Vishnu. And Narad Muni came as his guru to tell him what to do and how to meditate to Lord in your hand. And he performed severe austerity, right? He would, at the end, he would breathe in like once in a month or once in many, many days. Right? And initially he would eat once in few days, then he would breathe in a few days, he would have water in a few weeks. So like that, many, many beautiful austerities that he did overall, right? Then another story of Kapila Muni. Right? Kapila Muni is teaching his mother Devavati on the beauty of Lord Vishnu in his heart, right? So many wonderful verses he talks about. Actually, let me give you a little bit of I don't think you've heard the story of Kapila Muni. I don't think I've mentioned it before. Do you know? Say yes or no in chat. I can then spend time talking to you. Say Y or N on the chat. Only Sukrut said no. Everybody else knows, I assume. Okay. Please participate, right? I also know that you are listening to me in the class. In fact, the course I'm attending, it's compulsory to put your video on because then you also are not distracted, right? You're focused on the class. Otherwise, some side mein kuch bhi aur karte rehte, right? So we should be, we should be there in the class. Then only we benefit. Otherwise, kya fayda, right? So when I request you to chat, I think you should participate. And I also know, right, there is somebody listening. Otherwise, I also don't know if you're listening or you're just the video is on and you're not responding. Right? Yeah, so Kapil Muni is a very important personality in the Vedic philosophy, and he is described in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. He was the son of a great sage, Kardama Muni, and his mother Devahuti, who was the daughter of the Sarva Manu, the first Manu, right? We are all part of Manu's family, right? After Kardama Muni eventually left home for spiritual life, Devahuti remained with Kapila Muni and sincerely sought spiritual knowledge from him. Kapila Muni was not an ordinary sage. In Bhagavatam, he is described as an incarnation of the Lord himself, who came to explain genuine spiritual philosophy and bhakti. So seeing his mother's sincere desire for liberation, Kapila Muni instructed Devahuti, this very famous teachings for us, where he speaks about the nature of the soul, how the mind binds us, how material attachments and suffering comes. Then he spoke about meditation and consciousness, and most importantly, he said bhakti is the true path to liberation. And these teachings are very deep and from what is called as the Kapil Deva teachings in Srimad Bhagavatam. So very, very interesting, important teaching when you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, right? And then he goes on to describe the beauty of the Lord himself. And he says, how do you meditate on the Lord? Right? Actually, that gives me an idea. Are you all game to do a small meditation? It'd be nice, interesting meditation to do. But I
Yes.
want you all to be present, right? I should not be just doing meditation and no one is present. So can I see yes on the chat?
Yes.
Yeah. So let's do this meditation. I still don't have yes from everybody. I will request others to say yes also, or you can say no also. I don't want to do meditation. That's also fine. Rahul, Reena ji, who else has not responded? Administrator, are you wanting to do the meditation or not? Are you there, Rahul?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah. Guys, I really wanted to participate. I have come late night flight, but I had my commitment to do the Gita class. I'm still doing it. But if you are not participating and I don't know if you're hearing, then it doesn't motivate me also, right? To come and make so much effort. Right. Anyway, so let's start with this meditation. We'll try and do a nice meditation. So all of you close your eyes. Close your eyes and chant Om. 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 Try and focus on the in the Om, right? Om.
Om.
Now, with your closed eyes, imagine you're sitting near the banks of the Yamuna River. It's the place where Krishna has done so many of his pastimes. So take yourself to a beautiful river flowing by. Very, very gentle waves, cool water, cool breeze coming in your face. And you're like, wow, where have I reached? You're in such a blissful, cool place with the river flowing. You can hear the sound waves of the river flowing next to you. You can feel the breeze in your face. Your whole body has this nice, cool breeze that is coming and touching your body. Now, you suddenly, with your closed eyes, your eyes start to see Krishna. This is the river where Krishna is swimming with his friends. He is having fun. They're splashing water on each other. They're pushing each other. And sometimes they're swimming, sometimes they're chatting, and they're having a lot of fun. This is also the place where there's a tree, and on that tree, Krishna stole all the gopis' clothes when they were taking bath in the river. So he's taken all the clothes, he's put it on the tree. Right? This is also the place where Krishna has jumped and danced on the head of Kalia. Thousands of wood Kalia is there, and Krishna is dancing on these hoods. Right? And everybody, all the Brajvasis are looking. So you're seeing this scene sitting there. Right? This is also the place where Krishna is in his next Leela. You're seeing it's like a movie in front of you, like Krishna is doing all these Leelas in front of you. The gopis want to cross the river, and Krishna does his Leela of acting as a boatman, and you're seeing him acting as a boatman, uh, telling all the gopis that I will help you cross the river, but you have to give me all the makhan and the butter and everything else. So Krishna in front of you is doing this Leela. And suddenly, as you're seeing, you suddenly see that Krishna is actually seeing you. He is there. You're with him face to face. Right? The Krishna smile is so enchanting. He is got this naughtiness in his smile. He looks at you so lovingly that you can't even imagine. When he's smiling, rows of his teeth are like a string of pearls, white, which are rendered rosy by the splendor of his lips. He has curly locks of hair. He is wearing a mukut. He is wearing kundals, sharp-shaped earrings, which are shining on his cheeks. He has eyes, which are long fish-like eyes. And as you're seeing the Lord and you're seeing him smiling, looking at you, all your sufferings are getting evaporated. Everything you've forgotten and all the sufferings are getting evaporated. You keep looking at him. You can't get your eyes off him. You keep crying, you have tears because you've seen the Supreme Lord right in front of you. Your tears are falling. You can't control your happiness. There is Krishna standing right in front of you, putting his arms and saying, "Come, my devotee, my friend, come." And you are in this highest level of ecstasy. Try and enjoy this moment. Krishna is looking at you. His arms are wide open. You are sitting there. You can't stop looking at him. Your tears are coming from your eyes. All the problems, all the things that are happening in our life which are giving us problems, everything is getting evaporated. And you are continuously looking at him and you can't get your eyes at him. You keep looking, you're in a pause mode where you don't know what to do. You're smiling, you have tears, you're just stunned. Right? And now suddenly you see the phone come ringing and you're back to your normal world where he's disappeared. Slowly now you open your eyes, take a deep breath and stay in that moment. Open your eyes slowly, slowly. Are you back?
Didn't want to.
How many of you saw Krishna?
मेरे को तो पैर दिखे थे.
Amazing. Swati saw Krishna.
Not me.
Okay. Anybody else wants to share? I don't know how virtual meditations are, but oh wow, Varonika Mataji saw the face of Krishna.
Justice Pug, his Safa in the more peach, the peacock feather. That's it.
Anybody else wants to share? So this is exactly what Kapila Muni tells Devahuti, his mother, about Krishna. So he talks about his eyes, he talks about his face. Actually, let's go to the slokas. Okay. Oh, who said Krishna is hugging me? Wow, so blessed, Swati. Yeah. So what is Kapil Dev telling his Kapil Muni telling his mother? He's saying the Supreme Personality of Godhead has a cheerful lotus-like countenance with ruddy eyes like the interior of a lotus and a swarthy body like the petals of a blue lotus. He bears a conch, discus, and mace in three of his hands. He's describing Vishnu. Then he says his lions are covered by a shining cloth, yellowish like the filaments of a lotus. On his breast, he bears the marks of Shrivasta, a curl of white hair. The brilliant Kaustava gem is suspended from his neck. He also wears around his neck a garland of attractive Sylvian flowers, and a swarm of bees, intoxicated by his delicious fragrance, hums about the garland. He is further superbly adorned with a pearl necklace, a crown, and a pair of armlets, bracelets, and anklets. His loins and hips are encircled by a girdle. He stands on the lotus of his devotee's heart. He is most charming to look at, and his serene aspect gladdens the eyes and the souls of the devotees who behold him. The Lord is eternally very beautiful. He's worshipable by all the inhabitants of every planet. He is ever youthful and always eager to bestow his blessings upon his Lord. The glory of the Lord is always worth singing. For his glories enhance the glories of his devotees. One should therefore meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead and upon his devotees. One should meditate on the eternal form of the Lord until the mind becomes fixed. So the meditation that you did was exactly what Kapila Muni took his mother through, and saying this is Lord. So, right? It's not Krishna's imaginary, right? It's mentioned in our scriptures, right? How Krishna looks, what is his features. So all that we see as deities, our deity forms, is basically coming from the scriptures, right? Going back. Right. So this verse is amazing, right? He speaks about the smile of Krishna. He says when he smiles, he talks about his teeth, which is what you heard. He talks about his lips, rosy splendor, curly lock of hair. He talks about Mukut, the kundal, fish-like long eyes, and all of that, right? So he says Dhyayata, which means when you meditate in the form of Vishnu, who has two eyes like lotus petal and his curly locks of hair. And if there's a lotus, on which you have bumblebees hovering, and like that his face looks, right? Basically he's describing the super soul in the heart of a yogi, right? At the yogi, gradually when the mind settles, this becomes purified like a clear lake. So if some of us were able to see, our mind was more settled in his mode where we could see. Some of us found it difficult because our mind was thinking of a lot of different things, right? So for a yogi, as the mind settles, it becomes purified like a clear lake. And if what happens when the lake water is clear, you can see the pebbles below, the transparent water. Like that, when the yogi's mind becomes clear, he begins to see the super soul in his heart and he gets the darshan of the Lord. Right? So going back, what Krishna is saying is when the Nishkam Karma Yogi can promote himself to Ashtanga Yoga, which we will talk about, and anyone who desires to practice Ashtanga Yoga, it has to do, will reach that stage, right? But at the same time, he's telling that you should not suddenly give up your prescribed duties because it is so attractive to go and see the Lord that, because you're so eager, you want to attain the spiritual world, that you must suddenly give up everything irresponsibly. So he's saying the way to reach is first become a Nishkam Karma Yogi, which means do your duties, right? Offer the fruits to God. Then you reach the stage where you can do Ashtanga Yoga and see the God. Right? For example, a married man who has a wife and a child should not suddenly drop the family and run away to take sannyas. That is not allowed in the Shastras. Similarly, one who is not purified in his mind and who doesn't have the purified senses, one who's not able to engage fully in spiritual life, should not run away from his duties. Right? So Krishna is continuing to glorify the Nishkankam Yoga again in this chapter, right? So this is the first sloka of the chapter. So what is Krishna saying? Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Anasrita Karma Phalam Karyam Karma Karotiya Sa Sannyasi Cha Yogi Cha Na niragne na chakraya. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. You can repeat after me. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavana Uvacha
Anasrita karma phalam.
Anisrita Karma
Phalanam
Karyam karma karoti ya.
Karyam Karma Karotyam
Sa sannyasi cha yogi cha.
Sasannyachi Yogi Cha
Na niragni na chakriya.
Na Niragriya Na Chakriya.
So, what is Krishna trying to explain? It's two words he's using, right? Which are very relevant for a Grahastha devotee. He's saying sannyasi word he's using, right? What is saying? He's saying anasrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti ya sa sannyasi cha yogi cha. He thinks sannyasi, he's a yogi. Why is he saying that? Because although he's a karma yogi, he gives the result to a god, and that's why it's called a sannyasi. So when Krishna is mentioning sannyasi, even for us, by just being a nishkam karma yogi, Krishna is saying he's also a yogi, right? Because he's also a sannyasi. He may be wearing the dress of a grasta, but in his heart, he's detached from the fruits, and he's giving his fruits to God. Therefore, he's like a sannyasi only. So, for example, in ISKCON, there are lots of families we meet, right? Husband and wife, they have beautiful deities in the home of Radha Krishna. They cook bhoga for him. Um, they cook bhoga for him. If the devotees come, they feed them, they take them to their home, they do small festivals, they conduct weekly programs, they take family for yatra and trips to all the dhams. And gradually what happens, their fondness and attraction is taken away from home and enjoyment in the home to rendering service to the suffering souls by bringing them to Krishna consciousness. So therefore, the quality of a consciousness, of their consciousness is like a sannyasi, although they may be living as grahasthas within the four walls of a family. So you can be a sannyasi living within the four walls of a family. You don't have to leave everything and do it, right? You have to reach that level of consciousness, right? Which means the mind, his mind does not dwell on the sense gratification. He's called as a yogi, he says. So in this way, even while a person is living in this world, he can live like a sannyasi or a yogi. Right? Imagine you are a student. You may go to college. Even in the college, you have this big, you know this, that I'm not the body, I'm the soul, I'm a servant of Krishna. What do you do? Or you're in an office. You connect your friends to Krishna consciousness. You give them spiritual books like Bhagavad Gita, small books, Srimad Bhagavatam. You put them, you put up a weekly program. You get somebody else to teach, if initially. You call them, you let them listen, do bhajan, do kirtan, distribute prasadam, take them to the temple, make programs, right? So in this way, you can actually be a sannyasi even in your family life, right? And so this is the stage we have to reach, right? So before Ashtanga Yoga, there is Nishkamkam Yoga, where one does not exactly know that the God is Lord Vishnu, right? Some of them have a notion that God is Supreme Brahman, but they do not know there is one Supreme. They have faith in it. They know there is one Supreme. They have faith in it. When they study the Vedas, they have faith in the Vedas. They follow the Vedas. Eventually, they'll come to the Ashtanga Yoga, where they will know God is Vishnu. And when they come to Bhakti Yoga, which is what you will start in the next chapter, 7th chapter onwards, they will know that the God is Vishnu, Lakshmi Narayan, Sita Ram, or Radha Krishna. Radha Krishna are the original, and that is what they eventually come to know, right? So, so the question may come, how long a Nishkamkam yogi should practice a Nishkamkam with yogi in his life, right? When is it prescribed? So here he explains that while performing Nishkamkam yoga, one should cultivate detachment and also practice Ashtanga yoga, which is Yam, Niyam, Pranayam, Asanas. Right? You can practice, and that will purify the heart of a fruitative desires. For example, while living in a family, a person becomes attracted to accumulate too much money. Sometimes he become too attracted to enjoyment in his family, with wife, the children, the job, and money making. And it is easy in this world to get carried away. In fact, Prahlad Maharaj gives this example. He said when a person is living in a family, he can become so carried away. He's like the silkworm. Like the silkworm is emanating some liquid substance from his mouth, the viscous substance by which it makes a cocoon. And after that, the cocoon dries, and actually the silkworm gets caught in the cocoon and he dies. Right? Like that, we also in this world can get entangled in our work. Right? We do a job, we want the next job, we want the next thing, we want the next thing, and the next thing, and next thing, and that we are lost. We have no time for God. Right? Or people can get attracted to the wife or the husband and the children and the family and the TV and the movie and the party. And then suddenly you realize you become 80 years old and you wasted your life. Therefore, a Grahastha person should not get entangled. Rather, he should actually do Nishkam Kam Yoga, do all the activities of service to the God. At the same time, cultivate the jnana to know the difference between the body and the soul in this way. Right? Like you are all doing, right? You are trying to cultivate the jnana by hearing the Bhagavad Gita. Right? And that's how you cultivate the detachment. And along with that, you know, you do yam niyam pranayam, right? Which is what I'll show you in the next slide. Right? So there are 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga. Right? So there is yam, which is about what to do, what not to do. Right? Which is about what not to do. Niyama means what to do. Asana means the bodily exercises. Pranayama means the breathing exercises. Right? Pratyahara means withdrawing senses from sense objects. So most of us stop here only. हम breathing करते हैं, प्राणायाम करते हैं, आसना करते हैं. हम उससे पहले यम नियम भी नहीं करते जब हम योगा करते हैं, right? We don't have an understanding of what is yoga or what is Ashtanga Yoga. Then the next step is about Pratyahara, which is withdrawing senses from sense objects. Then is Dharana, which is about fixing mind on the Lord's form, like you try to do through the meditation. Then you intensify your meditation or dhyana on the super soul. Then you reach a stage of samadhi, which is complete absorption, which is a trance. And these are the 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga. So Ashtanga Yoga has these 8 limbs. It's not about just the bodily exercises or pranayama, right? Which is what we all generally know is, right? So first the don'ts are taught. Then regulations are given, right? Prohibitions are the bodily exercise comes, asana comes, pranayama comes, the breathing exercise, right? Asanas are done to control the senses, and pranayama is done to control the mind, right? We are only doing it for physical thing. हमको लगता है अरे breathing करेंगे तो lungs में अच्छा वो रहेगा, हमको कभी अस्थमा नहीं होगा, हमें कोविड नहीं पकड़ेगा, हमारी lungs strong होगी, right? We are just so much at a bodily level, but actual purpose of pranayama is also to control the mind. And then you reach the stage of pratyahara, when you withdraw the senses from objects which are degrading us. And then dhyana, which is fixing the mind in the Lord's form and intensifying the meditation of the super soul. And then samadhi, right? Which is the 8th stage where one is completely absorbed and oblivious to the world outside. And that's when you experience great bliss and trance and great happiness. So these are called as the 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga, as mentioned in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, and Krishna is repeating them here as well. Right? So what does yam mean? Yam means social discipline. So to begin Ashtanga Yoga, one should become non-violent, right? So ahimsa. Then he says you should be truthful, which is satya, right? Then they say you should not steal, right? Overall. Sometimes while living in the world, a man may become violent and aggressive in getting some work done for his selfish purpose. So one should give up that violence. One should become truthful, right? Sometimes a businessman speaks lies. But when he takes up Ashtanga Yoga, one has to always be truthful. Then is asteya, which means do not steal others' commodities. And one should not steal the credit that is due for others. That is another part of stealing, right? Office में हम काफी time भी act like this, तो इसने काम किया, मैं credit मैं ले लूँ, right? Overall. And then brahmacharya, which is about celibacy, honest avoidance of opposite sex, right? Because in this world, the man and woman, when they come closer, the Shastras give us the example of butter and fire. When the butter and fire are brought, the butter melts. Similarly, when the man and woman come closer, the bodily consciousness is escalated more and more. Right? Then we make sure we keep on taking bodies one after the other. Right? Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Right? We keep dying, we keep taking birth. So therefore, there's a particular age in which a man and woman are allowed to come together, which is the age of marriage. And then after marriage, they can beget children, raise them. And then once a person becomes 50, And then he becomes more serious about spiritual life after that, right? Uh, so Panchasya Urdhvam Vanam Vrijit. One takes to God consciousness more seriously and again wants to follow celibacy. So 50 ke baad, then they say again you have to increase your consciousness and then slowly get to a celibacy. God has made our bodies like that, right? All of us go through bodily changes, right? Because which means less and less about sexual attraction, right? Overall. Right? So all men, women, all of us go through that, right? At 45, 50, 55, all of us suddenly have a change in our bodies, right? Because it means this is a time to get away from all the sexual attraction, right? There are people who follow the brahmacharya vrat right from birth and throughout the life they remain celibate also. And so brahmacharis that you see in ISKCON or any other place, right? They're celibate through the life, right? Then he talks about aparigraha or non-possession. That means one should not accumulate too many goods. If you accumulate too many goods, then too much maintenance is also required. If you have a big house, the house is empty, you want to fill it up with sofas, table, chair, washing machine, everything, a flat screen, TV, theater, I don't know what all, right? Then you go fill up your house with many possessions and then you have to maintain them also. So a man should actually gradually learn to possess less and devote more time for God. Because more possession means more expenditure and more maintenance time also. It means you have to keep working hard, and then you realize life is khatam ho gaya, right? So Yama means all these disciplines, which a person who wants to do Ashtanga Yoga wholeheartedly should do in the beginning, right? Then there are personal disciplines which are there, right? Which is Niyama, right? Saucha Santosta Tapa Swadha Ishvara Paridhani, right? One should be clean and bodily cleanliness is attained by taking bath twice, thrice a day. Internal cleanliness is achieved through the mantra chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then Santosta means satisfaction, which is very important. And you will see there are so many people in the world, right? Especially countries like America and first world countries where they have broad roads and tall towers, very beautiful cities, smoothly moving cars, very nice beverages and eatables, very handsome, beautiful men and women, beautiful bodies. They enjoy, they have amounts, they have huge amount of wealth, but they are not satisfied. Then, even if you go to heaven, you will have Indra. Indra also in heaven, you have Nandana garden. There are apsaras, very, very beautiful women. They're very fine foods they eat. Even there, they're not satisfied. You will see, right? So in this world, you will find no matter how much you accumulate, you are not satisfied. But the one who has come to Ashtanga Yoga because of his practice of Nishkam Karma Yoga before, again, it's important that you do Ashtanga Yoga when you become a Nishkam Karma Yogi. We don't purify ourselves, we don't become a sakam karma yogi और हम योगा करना शुरू कर देते तो कुछ benefit ही नहीं होगा ना योगा का. So from that stage of Nishkam Karma Yoga itself, satisfaction starts, contentment starts. That's when you start giving up greed, and then tapa means austerity. Like I told you, Dhruv Maharaj, he was standing in the forest, he was performing austerity, he was eating less, sleeping less, meditating on the Lord with one pointed focus. Austerity means voluntary acceptance of inconvenience for long-term happiness, right? That's the definition of austerity, right? For example, giving up onion garlic. You say, I long-term happiness, I will give up, right? So people give up non-veg, people give, whatever, right? So that's how you start to do a little bit of austerity. You may be inconvenienced at the start, but then it's for my long-term happiness, right? Tapodivya means one should do divine austerity for the pleasure of God, right? That's when Dhruv Maharaj got darshan of Lord Vishnu. Through the Ashtanga Yoga, he meditated on Vishnu, he offered obeisances, because early, if you see in this picture, you can see him standing on one leg and meditating, right? And then finally, Vishnu is coming and giving him darshans. Initially, Narad Muni is telling him how to do meditate and so on and so forth, right? You can see in this picture, right? Overall. And when you study the Vedic literature in this way and by surrendering to God, and you chant, like Dhruv Maharaj chanted Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, right? And that's why he surrendered to God. When he was there, the chanting for us to attain God was Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And now in this Kali, what is the chant for us to reach God? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Right? So that's the way to surrender to God. Right? Then Krishna details explains about pranayam. Right? He talks about for controlling the mind, calming the raging mind. Then he talks about asanas to control the senses. So when you sit in Padmasan, then you also do pranayam and you sit in a right posture. So Krishna says all these things. Shichao deshe padisthaya sthiram asanam atmana. He's going, then he says you go to a holy place like Madhuban. I can give the picture. Okay. So then you go to a holy place, like Prahlad Maharaj went to Madhuban, right? We can go to Vrindavan, we can go to, Rishikesh, we can go to Mathura, we can go to Dwarka, we can go to Jagannath Puri, right? Then it says sit very firmly, don't shake your body, don't move this way, that way, don't stand up and walk, sit in one place. Don't sit on the ground, sit on some asana like a deer skin, right? Because if you sit on deer skin, then the snakes won't come near, right? No creature will come near due to the smell of the deer skin, right? And then he's saying make one pointed focus, look at the tip of your nose, and then make the mind very calm and fit for dhyana. Then the meditation of the super soul will begin after that, right? So that's basically how Krishna is explaining that you should reach the higher stage of yoga, right? So in the beginning, Krishna says that a person who has finished Nishkam Karma Yoga, he comes to Ashtanga Yoga. But still he requires to do mind control and detachment from sense objects, because without that one cannot go to the higher stage called Yoga Ruda or Yoga Ruruksha stage, right? And the previous steps I spoke about, Yama, Niyama, Pranayama, Asana, those steps are for the Yoga Ruruksha, the beginner, and then the next 4 steps are for the Yoga Ruda who has controlled the mind. So Krishna explains in the following verses the control of the mind, right? So therefore, is the mind a friend or enemy? Right? That was the topic we start about, right? So here he explains, right? Udharet atmanatma natmanam avashadhet atmaiva hi atmano bandhur atmaiva ripur atmana bandhur atmana atmatanastasya yenatmaivatmana jita अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतामैव शत्रुयावत्. So, he's telling, my dear Arjun, the mind can be an enemy or a friend, like a knife. A knife can be used by a surgeon to save life. The same knife can be used by a thief to murder some people. Similarly, you will see that the same key can open the door and go into a room if you want. And when you're inside the house, somebody can close the door with the same key and lock you up. The key can bind you inside the room or can liberate you from the room, right? So mind is also like that. Mind can lead to bondage. So he's saying, Mana eva manushyam karanam bandha moksha. It is said that both bondage and liberation. It depends upon what type of mind we have, right? Do you have a controlled mind or an uncontrolled mind? If you have an uncontrolled mind, then it can create so many troubles for us. Right? Right? So you can see people are suffering nowadays, right? Because there's lack of confidence, loss of trust, stress, hypertension, depression, weak determination, so many things like that. They're all diseases of the mind which are not controlled. Right? Somebody has let the mind flow its own course. So eventually the mind becomes uncontrolled, like a pishach or a ghost, and it attaches the people, right? Overall. Right, all of us, know so many of us either have gone through or know others who are going through depression where just getting the mind to be normal is so difficult, right? It's like a ghost or a pishacha attacking us, right? And therefore, youths many times because of letting the mind loose, they suffer. These are, all these are the results of mind: rape, murder, liquor, TV, picking quarrels, cigarette, burning houses, prostitution, suicide, right? So disturbed senses, fickle and lusty intelligence causes all of that, right? Needless to say, all of us know this. We've experienced this in our life, right? About how an uncontrolled mind gets us into trouble. We all live in this world, so we all know it, right? Therefore, Krishna says, Arjuna, we have to control the mind. He says, see the senses, eyes, nose, tongue, ears, and skin. And these are the Gyan Indriyas which supply inputs to the mind. So, like you see these fingers, right? Here, Shotram, Chakshu, Sparshanam, Rasanam, Granam. These are 5 senses you have, right? Gyan Indriyas. We call this one Gyan Indriyas. Right? Shotram, Chakshu, eyes, Sparshanam, touch, Rasanam, taste, and Granam, right? They all supply, give information to the mind, which is the central figure. So the mind is the leader of all the 5 senses, and therefore the mind is the storehouse of thoughts, which are fed in through the senses of the mind. And after that, mind takes in the thoughts. It requests the intelligence to give order to the working senses. So mind requests intelligence. Now you order the working senses to go get me this, give me that. Right? I saw this, I like it very much, I want it. Sorry. I want it. Then intelligence to supply by ordering the working senses, hand, legs, everybody. So you can say intelligence is like a husband, mind is like a wife, and senses are like children, right? For example, in a home, there are 5 naughty children. There are 5 senses. They're all harassing the mother. Mom, I want chocolate. Another says, Mom, I want a balloon. And everybody is crying. Mind is like, mom is the mind, right? And she's like, what the hell? What do I do? Right? So she goes to the husband and says, yeah, please give me money. This guy wants a chocolate. This guy wants balloon. This guy wants a toy, and so on and so forth. He wants this. He wants that. And in this way, the intelligence has to provide facility for that. Right? Actually speaking, what should happen is the intelligence should control the mind. The mind should control the senses. But because the mind has so many unfulfilled desires, and all of them are not correct desires, right? Sometimes, for example, we go to a supermarket, right? We want to buy this, we want to buy, the pocket becomes empty, right? Cash in hand is over, we give the credit card because mind wants to purchase everything, right? But what we need to do is restrain, right? Otherwise, the money may not be enough for the whole month. Your salary will come and it will all go into credit card expenses, right? So at some stage, we need to draw a line between luxury and necessity, right? So we can have a controlled mind. So many people earning so much, but you talk to them, they say we can't save because you're an uncontrolled mind. You're spending here and there. There's no line between how much should you, what is a luxury and what is a necessity, right? People I know who earn very, very nice, maybe 1 crore or more, but this is I'm saving nahi kar pate because mind has to keep spending money on useless commodities which are not useful at all, and just for the sake of impressing or showing, and you end up not having enough. So therefore, one has to control, right? So this example is given, right? Right. So here are the 5. So you see the 5 senses are the horses. The mind is like the ropes. The driver is the intelligence, and the soul is the passenger, right? The white wine. So the soul should take advantage of the intelligence to control the ropes, right? The mind, and in turn control the senses. So how do you do that? How can you take help of the driver in your body, which is intelligence? For that, you have to strengthen the intelligence. And how do you strengthen the intelligence? By studying the Bhagavad Gita, which you're already doing now. Right? So once you gain this knowledge thoroughly, then your intelligence is purified and strengthened. Then it can subdue the fickle mind and impure senses. And gradually, mind and senses can be purified by yoga eventually. So here Krishna is telling Arjuna, right? He's telling that there are dualities in this world. There's day, there is night. There is summer, there is winter. There is pleasure, there is pain. There is honor, there is dishonor. Right? So common people, common living entities, when they get honor, they jump like a monkey. When they get dishonor, they get into depression. So he's telling if somebody has to be an Ashtanga yogi, he has to be equally minded in all the situations. Right? So here you see Srila Prabhupada on the left, right? He went to America in his ripe old age. First year, he didn't get any support. He didn't get broken-hearted. He patiently waited. And then sometimes he got a lot of support, sometimes no support. But in 12 years, he practically traveled all over the globe 14 times and accepted all kinds of challenges and difficulties. And he was always cheerful. So great saintly people like this, in both happiness and distress, they remain equipoised. Right? And he says 2 things there, right? Krishna says, For, for them, the stone and the pebble, stone and pebble in one hand, and gold and silver on the other hand are the same. For example, Prabhupada was sometimes taken by Rolls-Royce cars and Cadillac cars. Sometimes he stayed at the bestest hotels, 5-star, 7-star hotels, very big hotels. And when Prabhupada came to Mayapur, he said, make me a small thatched hut for me. I would like to stay in a small, simple thatched hut. And he stayed, and sometimes he would like to go in a bullock cart. For him, the bullock cart and the Rolls Royce made no difference. Because for him, he says, I can preach in a bullock cart or I can preach in a Rolls Royce, whatever it takes to preach. He can go in a plane or he can go even in a cargo ship, which is how he went to America. It doesn't make any difference for him. Right? Yeah. So, so Krishna says that, those who are sadhus, they treat all jivas equally, right? Like Prabhupada, he never worried about who's coming from what background. There were Christians, there were Muslims, there were Hindus, there were poor people, rich people, fair people, black people. He said, I brought this message of Bhagavad Gita for one and all. So he did not see difference in everyone, right? So there are two characteristics of a yoga nidra, very advanced yogi, right? What are these two? One is the difference between gold and stone. He didn't see, everything is same for him. Another one is difference between people, he didn't see, right? So in this world, we all tend to say, he's my friend, he's my enemy. But the yoga rudra goes beyond all that stage. And then one can go to the kingdom of God, one has to attain this kind of realization. So after practicing Ashtanga yoga, now he's going to the basic principle of meditation, which I told you about a few minutes ago, right? He tells about the perfection of meditation, focusing on your nose and sitting straight and all of that, right? When the yogi meditates, gradually the form of Lord Vishnu becomes visible in the heart. In this dhyana, avishthasta, tattva, thera, manasa, apyashanti, yama yogi, whatever we see, yogi becomes completely calm. He becomes completely tranquil. And then that stage he sees the Lord and he begins to experience great bliss of Ananda, Parama Ananda, as explained, right? Yeah. So he says, like this, you experience unlimited happiness, and it is beyond the range of senses, mind, and all that. It's spiritual bliss. Therefore, we have to know that when yogis and sadhus leave the world, they go to God, right? And the question will be, why are they giving up this beautiful world? Because God has created this beautiful world. Why not be happy in this world only? Why to renounce everything and become a yogi? Right? But actually, if you know, the world is filled with commodities, you're nothing but play toys, that's all, right? Like when we were small children, we would love play with a balloon and toys. Right? When we became professionals, do we still play with balloon and toys? No, because we give up the child proclivity, right, for a higher responsibility. Similarly, when you come to Krishna consciousness, all the worldly activities become like play toys. And our connection with Lord Vishnu in our heart, his beauty, his sweetness, his qualities, everything manifests in the heart of a yogi. And that's when the yogi is satisfied. He says that even if great challenges and dangers and difficulties come in this life, this person does not get shaken a bit. He will always be fixed, he always says, right? Then he's coming to the next part, which is Ashtanga Yoga, right? So he's explained the different steps of yoga, meditation, pranayama. He's spoken about, Nishkam Karma Yoga, right? In Ashtanga Yoga, this person is like sitting in a serene place, undisturbed place, right? But we are all living in the city where the cars are honking, bang, 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 always, right? There are big crowds of people, dhak, 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 moving in the city. Lots of dust pollution. Delhi has other kinds of pollution, noise pollution, air pollution, mind pollution. But a strong yogi is supposed to go in a serene setting in the forest or in a farm, preferably a holy place, like Vrindavan, Dwarka, Mathura, and then go and practice there, right? And then how should he meditate? He should sit in a posture, without shaking. He should control his mind. He should be brahmachari. And this way he should edit it on my form, like you see here, right? And then that's not all. There are recommendation, even regulations that he is to follow. Right? So all the how to say it, what to do, all of this is mentioned. right? He should not eat, the regulations are he should not eat too much food. If he eats too much, he will go to sleep. If he eats very less, he'll become weak. So he has to eat moderately. Similarly, he should not sleep too much. There should be regulated eating, regulated sleeping, right? Now all of us work like 14, 16, 18 hours, right? First, we are literally stretching ourselves. And then it says vichara should be simple, and our vichar should be pure as well. If we eat simple food, our body will be healthy and the mind will be calm and the intelligence will be focused on spiritual duality. So in this way, Krishna says that yoga bhavati dukkha. You should keep the mind, body very light and simple for making it fit for yoga, right? People go to yoga institutes, as I said, to do pranayam and asanas, right? If you ask them what do you want, they will say we want a healthy body. That's all. So I can enjoy life. Actually, my Gurudev tells me this story, right? He, along with his Guru Maharaj, went to meet TKV Iyengar. We know Iyengar ka yoga studio, right? Very, very famous Iyengar yoga. Right? Iyengar had started thousands of yoga studios all over the world, and he speaks Tamil language because my Gurudev knows Tamil language. My Guru Maharaj took my Gurudev with him to meet him. Right? So then when he met him, he was making a very interesting point to Guru Maharaj. He said, Maharaj, to His Holiness Adhana Swami Maharaj. He said, Maharaj, all my life, all your life, you've been a Vaishnava devotee. So many years you've been a Vaishnava sannyasi now, 50 years, and your life has become blessed. So like that, Iyengar was telling Radhanath Swami Maharaj. Radhanath Swami Maharaj said, no, I'm just a simple devotee. Look at you, are popular all around the world. Iyengar yoga institutes are so popular. Then Iyengar actually opened up. He said, see, I'm born in a Shri Vaishnava family, but I have one regret, he said. So Radhanath Maharaj asked him, what? He said, although I have taught yoga all over the world, people come to my yoga institutes to have a healthy body and cure their diseases, right? And some people want to have a long life as well, right? They do not know that actively after the first stages of yoga, which is yam, niyam, pranayam, and pratyahara, they have to come to the highest stages of meditation on that Vishnu Murti form. Right? That's what Patanjali also says. That's what even Ramanuj Acharya taught. But unfortunately, he says people are coming to my institute and they haven't learned it. So he says, I want to write a book called Core Yoga. He said, in that book, I'm going to mention this. And then, of course, within the next 2-3 years, he bought the book called Core Yoga. So you can actually buy it on Amazon if you are interested. In this book, he mentioned, bhakti or surrender to Lord Vishnu in the heart is the ultimate goal of yoga. And yoga is not just for a healthy body. And of course, then after he had become 95 years old, he left the world. But before leaving the world, he wanted to give this message, right? So that his yoga institutes have some conclusion, right? And not just focus on the body aspects of life, right? And so then he further explains, right? Yato deepo nivastastho nena gete sopama smrita yogino yata chittasya yanjato yogam atmana. So, yes, I guess. So it says that if you keep a lamp in a room where the windows, doors, everything is closed, the lamp will never waver. If you keep it near an open window, then it will waver. So meditation of the yogi should be fixed achalam. Then only you get to see Lord Vishnu, and that's what he's saying. Anarvindam Chetasa means without any distraction. And all the desires, material desires can be burned away in such meditation. Material desires are sometimes compared to snakes, right? Because snakes, like desires, always make the mind impure and they create troublesome situation for us, right? Then he's saying, Tatta Sarvan Asheshataha. Krishna says all the material desires are vanquished by the yogi and they're replaced by spiritual desires. Right? So how can you do that? So instead of like seeing a cinema poster, I can see the beautiful deity form of Radha Krishna. Instead of hearing rock music, I can hear Kirtan. We have to do replacement because we cannot empty it. Right? We cannot empty our desires, but the desires have to change. Instead of studying some imaginative novels, watching all kinds of movies, I can hear Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. In this way, we can substitute our material desires with spiritual desires, right? So if you see here, right, the tortoise is climbing up the steps gradually. And like this, one can gradually go up and up and up. And then one may, one may reach somewhere, right? So like a child is playing football all day long. Mother says, hey, drop your football, come into the room and do your studies now. You have not done your homework. Like that, we have to bring the mind. Yato yado nischalati means chanchalam astiram yatado. Sato niyam ye tatmani eva vasham nayat. As the mind goes far, far away, bring again the mind back. So when we chant, right, a very important thing, you will see the mind wandering away. We have to develop that awareness कि mind wander कर रहा है, right? So then you bring it back, saying, hey, you have to hear the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Every word should be heard. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. You have to keep making that effort, and that's when you reach a stage where the mind doesn't wander, right? And you have to keep bringing it back, right? Krishna says you should try bringing the mind back, and eventually you will experience the bliss of samadhi. And when you come to this Brahma Bhuta stage, where there's no hankering, there's no material desire, there's no depression or lamentation, one is completely satisfied, right? So now I can continue, but maybe I should stop there. So naturally, we'll just complete these two, three, six things, right? So Arjuna is basically then saying, hey, but the mind is so chanchalam. It's like a heavy whirlwind or a heavy tornado or a cyclone. My mind is also like a cyclone, Krishna. I'm unable to catch it or restrain it, he's telling. So Krishna will give Arjuna a solution for this. Arjuna is saying like, it's like a mad like an elephant. My mind is like mad like an elephant. It is very stubborn. It's like a stubborn man or a stubborn child. And Krishna is telling two things, right? Abhyasena tu Dhanteya, Vairagyena Chakristhate. So, in fact, Prabhupada explains this verse very nicely. He says that even when a disease is advancing, if the patient places himself under the care of an expert physician, similarly, we are all having a mind that is very diseased and creating trouble for us. We should place ourselves under the custody of a guru who's like a doctor. And then regular treatment, abhyasena, vairagyena, will be effective, he's telling. So Prabhupada is saying that he's saying that if one engages in these 9 types of devotional service, the first and foremost of such devotional engagement is hearing about Krishna, which is what you are doing. This is the most powerful transcendental method for purging the mind of all impurities. The more you hear about Krishna, the more one becomes enlightened and detached from everything that is taking the mind away from Krishna. Right? And by detaching the mind from activities not devoted to the Lord, that means everything which is not connected to the Lord, you can very easily reach the stage of vairagya. Vairagya means detachment from matter and engagement of the mind and spirit, as he says. So an impersonal detachment is more difficult than attaching the mind to activity of Krishna. So there are people who say God is light. तुम light को नहीं देख सकते थोड़ा बाद तुम बोलो क्या करूँगा. So when you look at the form of the Lord, like we tried to do in our meditation today, right? Then you can focus. You can say, oh, now I'm looking at the feet. Oh, what beautiful fingers he's got. Oh, he's wearing a ring. Oh, wow, he's wearing, such a yellow color dhoti. Oh, payal hai unke pair mein. You can look at unlimited things, right? When you look at the form of the Lord, right? So like that, he's saying that it's like curing a disease and the expert treatment and appropriate diet is required. Overall, right? And then it's like when you go to an Ayurvedic doctor, right? They give you two things. They'll give you the medicine and they'll give you some patta. Patta means prohibition. बोलेगा दवाई है इसके साथ आज दही मत खाना, right? Overall, ये दवाई है इसमें आप अभी थोड़े दिन तक मीठा मत खाना, right? They'll always give you prohibition. But we have a very simple meditation, and the simple meditation is chant Hare Krishna mantra. And what is the patta? That we follow the 4 regulated principles. No meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, and no illicit sex. Right? So I'll stop here for today, and then we'll do the S and the Y in the next class. It's a short chapter, so we should be able to finish it very fast. But, I want to bring us back to the yoga ladder. We covered this earlier in chapter 3. Right? So today we are on this extended yoga ladder, right hand side wala. Animal life, Karma Kanda, Sakam Karma Yoga we learned about, Nishkam Karma Yoga we learned about, right? Gyan Yoga, and then Ashtanga Yoga. And then you reach Bhakti Yoga, right? This is what it's saying. But we also know that we don't have the mind to be able to do this. हम बैठ सकते हैं क्या? अभी हमको इतना difficult हुआ meditation करने में, हम कितना भी practice करें, हमारा mind हमेशा हमें इधर उधर लेके ही जाए, right? We've even heard stories of great yogis, right, who got attracted by women, by ego, by anger, and they had, unless they became big devotees of Lord Ram or Lord Krishna, they found it very difficult to control. And what about us? We are so completely not possible to control our mind, right? So we said the express elevator is surrender and get association of devotees, do sadhana, which is your practices, with practices of chanting, hearing, praying to the Lord, visiting the temple, you develop bhav, which is, where you have some emotions, and then you reach the highest prem bhakti. So you don't have to go through this whole cycle itself. And that's what Krishna will speak at the end of this chapter, right? I just wanted to bring it back. We've covered this in the last it's in chapter 3. So this is a simpler form because it's very difficult to do what you really need to do in yoga, right? No yoga institute has been able to still crack it, right? No yogi, it's so difficult for even yogis to be able to do this, right? So I will stop and see if there are any questions from anybody. Any questions?
Yes. So how do I know, I mean, like, if I'm really making progress spiritually or just in experiencing?
Yeah, very nice question actually. When I was attending the Bhagavatam class every 9 p.m. in every temple in ISKCON, there's a Bhagavatam class. I was attending this class in Sydney, and somebody asked the same question. And how do I know I'm making progress? Progress comes when you realize that you're prioritizing Krishna over everything else. So जब आपको टीवी देखने का टाइम आ रहा है या आपको पार्टी करने का टाइम आ रहा है तो आप प्रायोरिटाइज करते चलो मेरी भागवतम मेरी गीता रीडिंग बाकी है, मेरा चैंटिंग बाकी है, मेरे को इसकी जगह मैं प्रहलाद महाराज की या नरसिंह भगवान की पिक्चर देख लूँ, राइट? पार्टी करने की जगह मैं भगवत गीता पढ़ लूँ, मैं फालतू के लोगों से मिलने की जगह मैं मंदिर चली जाऊँ. So when you start prioritizing Krishna in your life over material things, that's when you know you're making progress, right? It's very simple to know. रोज हमारे पास 10 ऑप्शंस आते हैं, हमको डिसाइड करना है कौन सा ऑप्शन हमें ज्यादा एक्साइटिंग लग रहा है. So when you start to make that little progress also, of course, may not happen in one go, right? But you see that majority of the time Krishna is winning. That's when you know spiritual progress is that then you have to reach a stage where you don't enjoy some of those other things. That's when you know you're making spiritual progress. Helpful?
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so I thought it was a little heavy the chapter. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but I think the key is that Ashtanga Yoga, while Krishna is explaining in detail because people have questions, right? And Krishna is telling all about all the other forms of yoga. But I think the final, which is the chapter 7 onwards, which is the butter and the jam of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says that Bhakti Yoga is the highest. Then in the end, he again speaks about Gyan Yoga and then again brings everybody back to Bhakti Yoga. Right? So Krishna is covering all because these are all the questions in our mind, right? I mean, how do we become happy and permanent happiness? How do we get to but Krishna is explaining all of this in detail. And frankly, some of this is just not possible. I also can't sit 2 hours continuously without thinking of anything else. It's so difficult, right? To just be quiet. But when you hear the Mahamantra, at least your mind is hearing, your senses are hearing, your tongue is speaking, your eyes are, your ears are hearing. It's more easier than just sitting in a void and trying to do meditation, right? It's just very difficult. And Kali Yuga means the mind is full of anxiety, full of quarrel, full of thoughts of all the faltu stuff, right? So it's very difficult to control the mind. The only way you can do it is Bhakti Yoga, which is basically the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, hearing what you're doing right now, attending these classes, reading the Bhagavad Gita, offering service like Tulsi Seva or Temple Seva, all of that, right? So it's finally where we reach to maybe we'll start in the next class itself, some parts of the chapter 7 or 6 for me over here. Okay.
Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
So, I mean, that we are doing this classes, right? So, spoken about spiritual path and all this. But इतना कुछ जानने के बाद the problem is that one feels scared कि अगर नहीं हुआ तो अच्छा सही हो रहा है कि नहीं. Do those things really matter? I mean, like overcoming the fear of failure in this spiritual path.
So what is निष्काम कर्म योगा, right? निष्काम कर्म योगा हमने क्या सीखा कि रिजल्ट्स कृष्णा के ऊपर छोड़, हमें खाली एफर्ट करना है.
Okay. So that applies here also, even in our
Absolutely.
practice.
Absolutely. You keep doing your practice. Don't worry about the results. Results is in Krishna's hand. Krishna sees you become more sincere, he takes care of you. You don't have to try and think कि मेरी result आएगी नहीं आएगी, I will go back to Godhead or not go back to Godhead. And Krishna is guaranteeing at the Bhagavad Gita end में. He's guaranteeing whoever thinks of me. I sent that sloka also in the chat. He's literally guaranteeing. As you start thinking more about Krishna, he becomes a core of everything. You prioritize his activities. Krishna is literally guaranteeing, right? He kya hota hai overall, right? Even if you fall down, right? Bhakti yogi, next life you come in, you'll already be a Bhakti yogi because this is the only thing you can take in your new life. The rest, nothing you can take. None of your material possessions can go. Not even 1 rupee, 1 paisa, 1 piece of cloth, nothing. But Bhakti carries on. So if you have reached level 6 out of level 10 this life, you start from level 7 next life. You have reached level 9 and you start from level 10 next life. So 10 out of 10. So even if you fall down, right? First of all, we should try not to fall down. But even if we do, this only benefits us, right? And it automatically gets us the next life where we have the environment to practice it, even if we fall down, right? But अगर हम focused है, हम effort पा रहे हैं, we're prioritizing slowly हमारा Krishna consciousness become a top priority in our life, then you're likely to be successful. But again, don't worry about the result. Let the results be Krishna. You only make them.
Thank you. Very helpful. Thank you.
Anybody else? Any other questions? Okay, thank you everyone. We'll pause for today and then we'll see you for the next class. If you have anything, you can ask me in the chat, send me a private DM. But thanks for joining. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.